Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My brother was awesome, and my parents loved him. So did I. On the other hand, my parents tolerated me. I wasn't good at sports or school or anything really. I was pretty much an afterthought. When my brother got into medical school while I was in community college, my parents helped him out so he could graduate without debt. He had a bright future ahead and they wanted him to achieve. I was told I had to get student loans, which I did. I also finally accepted my place in their world and went low contact. Mostly we only talked at some event for my brother. I ended up getting my master's and I like my career. I like helping people, but I had to plan for my future. I knew I could have a good life with a partner, but that kids would lower my standard of living, so I got a vasectomy. I met my wife and she is on board with being child-free. We have a small house in a low cost of living town and a couple of dogs. Sorry for all the build-up, but I'm trying to avoid writing this next part. My brother died on his honeymoon. My parents are devastated. I'm not doing much better. My wife and I traveled to my hometown for the funeral. I saw my folks and went to see how they were. We hadn't spoken since my brother's wedding the previous month. They were obviously distraught. My mom said that when we had kids, I should name one after my brother. I wasn't really thinking straight, so I told the unvarnished truth. I had to choose between kids and paying off my student loans. She asked what I meant, so I admitted that I had gotten a vasectomy and would not be having kids. I always figured she would get her grandma needs met by my brother. My dad blew up at me for making such a stupid decision, that I had basically decided to end our branch of the family tree. I said that I always thought my brother would provide them with grandkids, and that if I had kids, they would be afterthoughts like I was. We went back home afterwards instead of hanging out. My mom is having some sort of breakdown from my brother passing away, and now me telling her that I will not be having children. My dad is just angry. I'm hearing from family that I was insensitive to put it the way I did. They've not shown much interest in me since I was 12. I don't really think I owe them anything. My dad called and offered to pay to get my vasectomy reversed. I told him my wife didn't want kids. I reminded him that we had told them that we were child-free, and they didn't care until my brother died. Well, it looks like OP has been treated like a spare. They don't have any right to demand OP provides them with grandchildren. Maybe it was not the right time to tell them about that, but what's done is done now. For OP's own mental health and peace of mind, however, I would recommend staying in low contact with them. They're probably going to try to make OP fill the void OP's brother left in their life, and I'm sure they're not going to drop the kid subject anytime soon. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Nazim Ya says, "You don't want to have kids. That's your choice, and they don't have a say, especially if they treated you like crap, then expect you to be a replacement of their perfect child." Gino Pact says, "You're the a-hole, but not for getting a vasectomy. It's about your sense of entitlement, acting horribly when your brother died. I get the fact you want freedom and fun, but you know your grieving parents valued the next generation that will support you, and this fact would hurt them, yet you told them at the worst time. Then you're the a-hole because you make life decisions based on spite, because your parents were biased and don't believe you'd be the kind of person they'd want to support." Obsidian Pearl 19 says, "Not the a-hole, and I cannot believe your mother's first thought after her own son died was, at least the other one will give me grandbabies. Like the only value you held to her as an adult was the ability to procreate and carry on your family's DNA. I'm so sorry you're being treated this way, OP. Go low contact and give them the time to grieve their potential grandkids they would have gotten from your brother, because it seems they, especially your mom, are more upset at that than losing their own child. Sorry for your loss, OP." Backstory. I have a 5-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We broke up about 2.5 years ago. We had some ups and downs during our marriage. We never argued or fought per se, but we did negotiate a lot with strong emotions and opinions. Yet we always managed to find common ground to stand on together. That's why it kinda caught me by surprise when she told me she wanted a divorce. I cried for a couple days, went fishing, and then started planning on how to figure things out. Because neither of us had enough income at that point to keep our car and/or house, we agreed that I should take care of selling the car, and she could get a realtor to start selling our home. Well, turns out I had to do both. Anyway, we had more debt than money, and she tried to leave all the debt to me while she would start from a clean slate. I wouldn't let her, and I made sure everything we owned and every bit of debt would be split evenly. We agreed that our daughter would live with both of us, splitting the time evenly, as our daughter had the right to having two parents. We promised each other to act civil. This didn't last. We also agreed that since our salaries were pretty even, neither of us would pay child support. We also agreed that she would take care of buying most of the clothes, etc. for our kid, since she would get the child benefit, about €100 a month here in Finland, paid by the government to support raising offspring. After the breakup, she started mail ordering new furniture for herself, even before she had found a new apartment for herself. Kinda obvious, but she really didn't have the money for it either. 2 weeks later, she moved out. A week later, I heard from our kid that she had a new man. I didn't really care, just raised some eyebrows. She would often call in sick to her work, usually BS reasons, and when her boss gave her some feedback, she didn't fix her attitude, but instead she just quit. She applied to a school and got in. After about 2 months, she quit the school too, and started demanding me to pay child support. We got a professional to weigh in, and agreed that I still wouldn't pay a dime to her, because she herself had caused her income to collapse. As a goodwill act, I offered to pay our daughter's insurance. I thought the matter was settled, but then she got pregnant for her new man a few months after our breakup. After our divorce was final, there's a 6-month reconsideration time before the judge calls it. She married her new man. These things empowered her into demanding for more money, again and again and again. So now that you know what kind of person we're dealing with, the case. Last fall, she yet again demanded money to support our kid. She was working again, and I knew she had used our kid as an excuse because she had expressed envy towards my ability to control my finances to a point that even when I had the same amount of money, I could eat in restaurants, etc. I told her that if she needed child support for legitimate reasons, I would of course help, but all the expenses would have to be calculated properly to know the right amount she would need. Instead, she demanded I would pay her €200 per month, and she would take care of all the expenses regarding our daughter. She didn't have any real reasons for the demand, other than her need for control. She had always been someone who wanted to have the last say in things. On top of her demand, this time she threatened to sue me if I didn't pay her. I pretty much laughed at it, until I got a message from her lawyer. At that point, I messaged my ex telling her from now on, I would only discuss this matter via our lawyers, and started looking for a lawyer myself. During the next couple months, things started to look really bad for her case. After getting the papers from the court, I noticed her case was based on false data. She, and her lawyer, hadn't asked for my income and expenses before they sued me, and she had estimated my income to be a lot more than it actually was. Also, my expenses were estimated to be smaller than actual. At this point, I messaged my ex and asked if she's sure she doesn't want to settle. She didn't. So I decided to go with some malicious compliance and didn't try again. After we both calculated every income and expense of both parties with the help of our lawyers, I, and my lawyer, confirmed that she had enough money to raise our kid. Not only that, turns out she actually had more money than me for it. Monthly income minus living costs, medicine, etc., etc. I burst out laughing at the absurdity of her case. Even more so when she tried to twist things to her favor by sending false evidence to us, and the judge, which we noticed instantly. A couple days go by, and my lawyer calls me. She had gotten a call from my ex's lawyer, saying he had noticed my ex is lying, and the whole case is based on lies, and the lawyer wants to settle. It looked like my MC wouldn't go through, until my lawyer got a message that for some reason, they won't settle after all. Game on. The judgment. We went to court. The judge was annoyed but composed. He asked my ex's lawyer about their demands. The lawyer started by saying, "First, I'm going to tell a bit of the backstory," and the judge cut him off, telling him to just state the demands. After a few seconds of silence, the lawyer told the judge, "No demands." The judge was both dumbfounded and livid, asking, "Then why are we here?" To which my lawyer said something along the lines of, "That's what we're asking too." Then the judge asked my ex's lawyer, "To be clear, you didn't want to settle?" And the lawyer sheepishly told the judge that my ex wouldn't agree to settle. They were so embarrassed. It was so glorious. Like some kind of divine karma being served right at my Karen of an ex. The judge ordered us to go to a meeting room for 20 minutes and to come back with a settlement agreement. Because she had more money, we negotiated that she would pay for our kids' hobbies, insurance, etc., to compensate for the difference. The judge verified it, and my party left the courtroom very happy. My ex, on the other hand, was balancing between angry and embarrassed. The fallout. A couple weeks ago, my ex demanded that we would make changes to the schedule on how our kid would swap homes. I declined, saying we have an agreement. She threatened to sue me, to which I just reminded her about the last time she wanted to get what she wants by suing me, asking if she really wants to do it again. She got mad, and I just ignored it. About a week ago, she sent me a message saying that she had a fight with her husband. Police were called because she attacked him, and she wanted a divorce. The police had to inform Child Protective Services, since there were kids present, mine included. Basically, her whole life has gone down the drain. 2 kids to different fathers, 2 divorces before she's even turned 30, and a lot of debt and expenses. It looks like our kid will be spending the majority of her time at my place, which is what our kid has wanted for the past 2-ish years. Santu says, "Good for you. She wanted to lie to her own lawyer. She got what she deserved." It sounds like she's in a bad place. Some might be her own doing, and then something else. So a friendly advice from both lived experience as well as what I've witnessed in my friend circle. Whatever happens to your kid, if the kid ends up living with you more than 50-50, even after everything, never talk bad or dish your ex in front of your kid. If the kid wants to complain or vent, hear them out and tell them that you'll support them, but don't agree or tell things that you have fought over between adults. Nanny Boo Boo says, "Sounds like your divorce was a good thing for you. Maybe consider whether your child would be better off living with you and visiting the mother occasionally." Nikki's 84 says, "Careful, OP. Your ex is going to want to reconcile just to avoid paying child support and or becoming homeless. Of course you're going to say no, but she's not in a good place. Might want to install some cameras as a precaution, just in case." We found out my dad was cheating on my mom last year, roughly 11 months ago. They got divorced quickly and shortly thereafter. We were all furious with my father. It looked like this had been going on maybe once a year for 7 years. I learned all the details from my mom. I flew up to my mom to comfort her while my dad stayed in their guest house. I didn't talk to my dad for months, and had my mom move into my and my fiance's house to take care of her for a while. I had no financial expectations of her, nor a timeline. I asked for nothing. I made her a welcome basket and tried to do absolutely everything I could to make her feel welcome, showing her around town, introducing her to people. She eventually moved into her own home, but as we helped her unload her storage unit, started accusing me of not checking in on her enough, doing enough to help her, and taking advantage of her. This is all as I started a new full-time job, planned a wedding. When I asked for specific examples, it was the time we all took her in her car to the beach. It was the only one with rear AC, and it was a hot summer day. Or that I expected her to buy groceries. She often went by herself, so I'm not sure where this is coming from. All this to say, I think my mom is directing her anger toward the people closest to her. I also think she is upset she moved out of state. I did tell her fresh after the cheating discovery that my dad wouldn't be invited to the wedding, mostly out of anger. I decided I wanted him to come to the ceremony later, so I wouldn't feel any regret. My mom took it extremely poorly. She threatened not to come, said I was siding with her aggressor, my father is a liar and cheater, and that I can't act like everything is normal. She's called me a spoiled brat, baby, and liar. She thinks I'm punishing her. Together, my dad and I came up with some compromising rules. He wouldn't be allowed on the venue without her being notified. He's not coming to the rehearsal dinner. He would not be coming to the reception. And they would not take photos together. And all of his family, including my nana and aunt, would not be able to stay past the ceremony. They are okay with this. We have discussed it. I proposed these rules because I understood my mom is the victim in the situation. Our whole family was torn apart, and I want her to feel comfortable. But even with these, it took her a while to decide whether or not she would be coming. My father has been very accepting of all these rules, and I think he's just excited to be able to come to the ceremony. He has expressed serious remorse to me. I decided, because of his lack of presence everywhere else, that letting him walk me down the aisle wouldn't be a big deal. My mom, however, has said that he has ruined her life, and I am siding with her aggressor via even allowing him to walk me down the aisle. I'm about 2 weeks out from the wedding, and I'm not sure if my mom will even be there. Am I the a-hole for allowing him to be at the ceremony and walk me down the aisle? Edit. I want to include, my father helped me come up with ways to compromise with my mom. Most of them came from him. We talk regularly now, as we used to, and have a good relationship. Children should never be involved in the parents' relationship. It doesn't matter how old they are. Cheating sucks, and there's no excuse for OP's father, but it looks like he's the only one behaving like an adult. Yes, their relationship ended, but him being OP's father did not. OP's mother needs to get over herself and think about OP and her happiness. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Skull Bearer says, not the a-hole. Your mother is putting you in the middle of her relationship issues, and by what you say, was physically aggressive to your father. She can sit down and keep her lip buttoned. All of us here says, not the a-hole. And this is a perfect example of how wrong people are when they said affairs shouldn't affect the children. It affects everyone, tears families apart, and affects children, including adult children. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and while trying to plan a wedding. Has your mom gotten into therapy? You're right, it's misplaced anger and grief. Your mom should be parent and adult enough to put herself aside for a weekend to support her daughter on her wedding day. Again, I'm so sorry she cannot see past her anger. If she doesn't attend, I guarantee it's something she will regret in the future. I wish you the best on your wedding, and that despite your family drama, it's filled with wonderful memories for you and your husband. Critty11 says, unpopular opinion, but you're the a-hole. Your mom is getting a little out of hand, but how does it look that you're bringing your cheating father, who cheated on your mother for years, to your wedding and having him walk you down the aisle? Is he really a good embodiment to love?